and welcome back to Season 5 of the Lighting Your Way podcast. My name is Betty Long, and I am your host during these conversations. I do hope that you enjoy them, and I look forward to hearing your feedback. In this episode, we talk with Bobby Simmons from Brooklyn, New York. Bobby is an acclaimed hip-hop artist, drummer, and entertainment personality in New York City, as well as a member of RWDSU/UFCW Local 338, a New York union representing grocery and department store workers. Joining Bobby is his nurse advocate, my Guardian Nurse's colleague, Michelle Agnese. We talk about Bobby's recent experience in the healthcare system after an emergent surgery. Hope you enjoy it. Welcome to the Lighting Your Way podcast, Bobby Simmons and Michelle Agnese. Welcome.
Hey, how y'all doing?
That boy, Bobby, get started good. Michelle, welcome to the podcast. My colleague at Guardian Nurse. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Very excited doing this.
You were kind enough to bring Bobby on as one of your patients up in New York. And Bobby, I'm excited to talk with you about your experience. You're on the other side of it now, so that's great. Happy to hear that. But you've been through a tough time the last, since July, right? Last year. Can you tell us about what's happened?
Yeah, since since last year, but the year before that, because I was also telling Michelle, I got hit by a car in 2020.
Whoa!
So it's like one thing after another. But
wow.
Last year of 2022. I was going to say 2021, but 22. I was just having like these constant pains in my stomach, and I'm from one who something ain't right. Go get it checked out, because I've never had to go to the hospital or a doctor. But this one told me, go get it checked out. And it's come to find out, there was a problem. And I still haven't, Michelle, no, I even still have a problem saying the name of it. What they found was diverticulitis.
What is it? Diverticulitis.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. And,
so that was causing the pain in your abdomen.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So me going to get that checked out and finding out that I had it, and they was able to get it before anything else happened, I was happy about it. But it was my first experiment of going through surgery. I've never had surgery ever in my life. Nothing. Not an ankle, not a knee, not a arm, not a nothing. So this was my first.
You're lucky.
Major. Yeah, and
because you're an adult man. I mean, you're lucky to dodge that bullet, right? I mean, because you gotta look. Avoiding surgery through 5 decades is pretty significant.
Yes, and so this was a pretty big one, and it scared me because I also lost a friend of mine who was also in the entertainment field. He was a rap artist. They had a huge, big platinum record out in the mid '80s called Roxanne, and his name was Kango, and he passed away. But he had he was in stage 4 cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So he was going through the same thing too with his colon and having pains himself. So I kind of got nervous because I just left his funeral like in January. So it kind of made me nervous, and it was a very, very weird experience for me. But I'm glad I was able to get through it, and then walks in the room while I'm in there, like, busted gut up, is this young lady. And I'm like, okay, what is she doing here? Is this another nurse coming to give me some pills or something like that? And she asked me my name and wanted to know, she asked me questions about was I with the Morton Williams Company, and she told me she was from the union. I was like, nobody never showed up to see me from nowhere. So I was actually surprised when that happened.
So you've been with the union, and that's Local 338 in New York since what?
Yes.
2007.
2007, yes.
Yeah.
Because I've always believed that. I've heard a lot of people say, union people don't do nothing for you. I'm like, well, I don't know, because I never had to use them. I really never. I mean, we're talking about from 2007 to 2022 that I had to speak or deal with somebody in the union rep.
Okay.
So I've never had to deal with it. So hearing everybody else complain, I was like, am I going to have this kind of problem? My experience was way 200 different than everybody else's.
Well, and one of the things that you and I talked about is, and Michelle's brought me in on this, is that you joined the union partly, you have the successful career in music, but you also work in the food store on the docks so you can get health insurance, which, as we all know, is very
right. Exactly. Well, the truth. Well, here's the real truth to be told. There was actually a dip in my musical career. I took a dip pretty much around 2005 and 6.
Okay.
Long story short, lawsuits and tax payments and you don't want to be one of Sopranos in jail, federal jail for taxes, and so a lot really happened. So it was like move about. And I remember my father told me, he said, always, no matter what you do, he said even if because in music, what I do, what we do is we're musicians and we're artists. We get to work with people, travel with people as musicians. Like I'm a drummer, so I played and worked with a lot of people.
Okay.
From Natalie Cole to artists when they go out on the road, they say, hey, we need drummers.
Okay.
Someone will recommend me, and I will go out on the road and play with these people. But then there's downtimes as musicians where musicians are not on the road. So they literally either waiting for the next gig to make the money.
Okay.
Or, in my case, I was lucky that I was a part of a rap group. So we had a deal where we was earning a certain amount of money, and most of the songs we wrote, we was cashing in on publishing.
Okay. So,
again, long story short, my father always told me, he said, well, unless you become Michael Jackson, this is my father, he told me. So unless you become Michael Jackson, and you get those $70, $100 million deals, then you can automatically, because you're in corporate. Corporate, right. They have a bag for that. They have a bag for health and, for government. But when you just a working musician, a lot of musicians' unions don't have health situations for you. So if you worked as a musician, you played. That's why a lot of jazz musicians wind up dying broke. People gotta gather people to help pay for their service. And well, how did he die? He was the greatest musician in the world, and no health insurance.
Oh, wow.
Same thing with a lot of singers and rappers. What happened? So I always thought that was kind of cheesy for my father to say, like, well, Dad, aren't you confident in your son's going to be like one of the big time musicians? It's not that he didn't believe in us or believe in me at all. It's just that he said, sometimes, and he was right, because it took a dive around 2006, and he was right. You know what I'm saying? So to Scrabble, I'm not actually really Scrabble. Someone actually recommended who also was in the music industry, and she was like, "Yo, I'm telling you, don't be embarrassed, don't be ashamed. You having a government gig, and you hold on to it, could bring you like precious jewels." I'm thinking, okay, whatever, But as you go along, you realize that some things you look at and you're like, oh wow, so I'm covered. So you look at what the president and all of them be talking. Now I know what they be talking about. Okay. When you talk about all these politicians and presidents.
Well, listen, healthcare is a big issue, as it should be, and we're still fighting about whether it's universal healthcare. But people who don't have healthcare insurance are really, really, really at a disadvantage, both clinically, because and then if they go to the hospital, they could, have to declare bankruptcy. So it's a critical issue. And having, we work with a lot of health and welfare funds who offer health benefits to their members, and they are rich benefits, as you've experienced, even having the surgery, and additionally having nurses like Michelle who can come into the hospital and kind of guide you through that process. So, like, what was it like to have? Yeah, what was it like to have Michelle kind of come in? And Michelle, I'm going to ask you too, but kind of coming into that's part of the joy of this mobile care program is that Michelle's able to go on site when she gets notification that you're inpatient. So that's why she showed up in your room. So like, what was her support like for you?
Excellent. That's just one word, excellent, because I like I said, I've never had to experience this ever before. So this was my first time ever having to deal with it. So I automatically needed to, if she didn't show up, I still had to speak with someone within my union to say, hey, how do I get help to, cover this? I need days off of work. I've been working for this company for, 14, 15 years. So
Right.
Should I mean for something? But her coming in was like, I still don't think she's real. I think somebody just sent her in for this moment. Because it's like she just came out of nowhere. It's like a television show, It's like she's just flying with a wand and some wings, and here she is. But she was excellent because she was able to help me through a lot of things that I probably would have had a major attitude with hospitals and certain people with. And she came through with answers, and plus she also helped me. She was like, "Oh, calm down, don't worry about it." And she'll tell you, I was always scared to call her. Because I used to always be like, "I don't want to bother you right now. I hope I'm not bothering you. I'm sorry I'm bothering you," because I needed answers.
Right.
And
Why
I
were you
knew
afraid
that
to
I
call?
wasn't the only patient.
Why were you afraid of calling her?
Because I knew that she had other patients. I wasn't the only one. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're working all day when you're dealing with other people, and I could just imagine what a phone looked like. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and then Harry, who's this body? Oh, he's bothering me. What do he wants? And I just needed answers. But she was able to provide me with answers without a problem at all, and quickly. You know what I'm saying? With she even helped me find certain doctors and people let me help you. We're gonna find someone who's gonna help you.
Okay.
So her coming in was excellent.
And prior to that, you didn't know you had the benefit of a guardian nurse.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I did not at all. That's what I said. It's like a TV show. Like, you're in a hospital, someone goes, "Hi, I'm your magic health ward." Health. So it's like, what? So it didn't really register until things started moving. Then I was like, okay, I see everything that she meant.
Okay. And Michelle, for you, I mean, you're doing this, a couple of years now. You're going into a lot of hospitals and seeing patients. Like, so you get the notification that Bobby's in there, and you mobilize to the hospital room. So what was it like for you to meet him?
It was a regular meeting. I just, walked in and did what I always do, not, introducing myself, letting him know about the benefit, because, we didn't have any other prior engagement with him before, this particular hospitalization. So, I went in, I went over my spiel, I guess, and gave him my card, gave him, our flyer, let him know I'm available to do home visits. We go on accompaniments, to different doctors. We help you, basically going over the entire thing. And then he wound up reaching out to me not soon after that to let me know. I think you called me while you were still there in the hospital about home care. And I said, I can help you, figure out, I think it had to do with a co-payment or something of that nature. And then I suggested, I said, hey, listen, I was like, once you get home, I can come out and visit you, go over your discharge instructions and, make sure that you're good with everything that you just went through. And, he was totally open to it. So, it was, Bobby made it easy, because sometimes it's not that easy, but he definitely, I feel like, kind of put the trust in there, not full trust yet, but he gave me some trust in the very beginning, which was, made my job a lot easier in the end, because that's usually a main barrier is the trust issue.
Well, judging from, Bobby's been working, 15 years in the union, and he didn't know. Of course, he didn't need anything, right? So, Bobby, a lot of times, right, patients don't hear about us, but then, of course, when you're hospitalized, the good news is that we get notification and we can come out and support you. So that's, it's not uncommon, right? If you're not, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So doing your
Right.
job, you're living your life, and you don't know about it until you need it, which is great that we have the benefit.
All the years that I worked for them, I had no injuries. If I was sick, it was because either I had the flu or you ate something wrong, but not to be hospitalized to go through surgery.
Right.
You know,
So what was, I'm curious, like, as a man in his 50s, what was it like to be, you were at NYU Brooklyn, right?
Right, yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what was it like? Because sometimes, we're nurses, so we kind of take for granted the comings and goings and the noises and the protocols, right? You're going to do this, you're going to do that. What was it like for you as a first-time patient?
The first time was pretty okay. I've been in there twice, so the first time was okay because the nurses was really, it was very nice, and I didn't really have to call them too much. I was in a room with someone who was just as quiet as me, so it was comfortable. But it was pretty good. The relationship with the nurses and even the doctors was really, really pretty good. So, but I wanted to get out of there because I don't like hospitals. So I wanted to get out of there.
There's not a lot of people that do like hospitals, at least patients, on the patient side. Hopefully the nurses and doctors like the hospital, or else.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate for all they do, but it's like if they could just be like zip, okay, go home, yeah. But but on overall, it wasn't bad. As people ask me, I won't go, oh, it was the most horrible. No, it was good. I can only spend 3 days in there, but the days they had me in there was, if I'm not mistaken, Michelle, I think I was in there for 12 days. Wasn't I the first time? I think I was in there for that long.
Wow.
For about 12 days.
It was 9 days. It was 9 days you were there.
Wow. That's a long time, Bobby. That's a long time to be in a hospital these days.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Wow. How are you doing now? Are you back to work yet? How are you doing?
Yes, I am. I am doing well now. I am definitely moving back again, and I'm happy. I'm even I'm just happy to be moving around because I know most people like to stay home, watch television, relax. Not me. I can't do that. I understand I had to recover, but not me. I couldn't do that. So I was just glad that the last day I just saw the doctor a couple of days ago, and he said, you can go ahead, you're fine, and I'll see you in December, and then I feel great. I really, really, really feel great.
That's
so
great.
I'm happy. Yeah.
Were you, are you back playing drums?
No, actually, I won't start doing shows until the first shows that we do have is the 17th of June. It's the 50th anniversary of hip hop concert. And we're a part of that on June.
Where is that at?
That's going to be in Atlantic City, June 17th.
Oh,
and
where at?
We'll be a part of that.
Casino?
I don't have offhand what's the name of the place, but it's what it's called, Boardwalk something. I think that's the name of the arena.
Oh, Boardwalk Hall.
But it's in Atlantic City.
Yep.
Boardwalk Hall. There you go. See, there you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
50
June 17th
years
in
of
Atlantic
hip
City.
hop. Holy smokes.
Yes.
50 years of
50 years of hip hop.
You haven't been doing it for 50 years, have you?
Oh no! But because it's hip hop and a lot of groups who are part of it, or part of the growth of the music, it's the celebration of the music.
So is Stetsasonic performing?
Yeah, we will be performing. Yes.
And you're saving yourself for that. Your recovery is going to be complete when you can go back.
Well, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm glad that all this got done in such a great length of time, because we kind of knew that this event was coming up. So I was hoping that my surgery would happen in February so that I have at least 2 to 3 months to recover.
Okay.
And it worked out perfect. It worked out perfect.
I don't hear that much, Bobby. Trust me. Neither does Michelle that things worked out perfect.
But what I can say is that, I feel like in talking about the timeline and how Bobby recovered so quickly, I feel like a lot of it had to do with his attitude towards the entire process, and, just going through the surgery, and, he went through a lot. Let's just say that. I mean, 2 major abdominal surgeries, and he always just kept such a positive attitude. I never saw his anger. I heard him say that he would get angry with people. I never saw that once. He was just took whatever the doctor said, okay, and he was like the model patient. And I truly believe that his attitude and his positivity and his want to get back to normal life is what really helped him just glide literally through this process. And it was seamless for him. And I mean, he was just such a pleasure to work with, as far as, just, he never bothered me. No matter what he said, he never bothered me, ever. I always welcomed his questions. I always welcomed his calls, as much as he always like, I don't want to bother you. I'm like, Bobby, it's fine.
Right. That's what she's there for, Bobby.
He really,
yeah, but I just don't. Yeah, I don't like to bother people as much. I always text that just so that in case they're busy. I just want them to know, if you're busy, you can get back to me when you can, and I just don't like to be a bother. But you did hear me upset one time, though, Michelle, when you came to my house, and I was telling you that how much Family Feud can I watch?
I agree with that one, though. But.
That's great. Then we're going to have a mental health admission, Bobby. We're going to have a
exactly.
And I didn't see your gold records on the wall either, Bobby. Right? That I think
Oh yeah, because she didn't know I was into music. I was like, you're the first person that ever came to my house. I got these plaques on my walls, and you didn't see that, because usually that's what people would ask. Like, oh, are you into music? But she didn't see it.
Oh,
she didn't see it.
Well, she's focused on you, Bobby. She's focused on you.
Bobby,
yeah.
The patient.
I'm glad, though. I'm thankful for it. I really am. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, Bobby, when you think about, I mean, now you got friends, you got family. Like, what do you have any advice that obviously attitude matters. That's what Michelle has remarked on. Your kind of very positive attitude. But is there anything that you'd like to say to folks who might be looking at a surgery, or going to a hospital to have maybe a surgery or a treatment?
Well, I mean, everyone's, I guess it all depends what kind of surgery they're having. Everyone is having different type of surgeries. I know what I went through, just hearing about it and learning about it was scary, because when I first went in, the first thing they said to me was, it happened quick. Like, when I went in, they took the x-rays and stuff. They was like, they pulled me into a room. I was like, is something y'all trying to tell me? And they was like, well, look, we see a mask inside your colon, and we need it's leaking. And I'm like, what? Like, this is what they were explaining to me. One doctor even told me, he said, we don't know what it is. It could be cancer, it could be anything. I'm like, really? Is that something you want to tell me right now? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was kind of scary. And then I said, okay, well, cool. Duh, me being a dummy at the moment, it was like, we have to schedule you for surgery.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, cool. Well, set me up for surgery probably like either Friday. It was on a Wednesday. I said, set me up for surgery like a Friday. And it was like, no, we have to set you up for surgery like in an hour. And I'm like, what? Like,
whoops. Okay.
So, yeah, right. So it's so anyone who's going through surgery at this particular time right now, definitely find out whatever your case is. Whatever you're going through, you want to make sure you take care of it. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of you might be afraid. I was myself. I don't want to make it sound like here on this show that, I was brave. No, because when you hear things like that, you wondering like, and then I never got answers until after they seen all the test results before they was able to tell me you're fine. Okay. But those 9 days, I'm like, why am I in there for 9 days?
Right. Well, they just took a significant part of your, colon out.
Exactly. But I know nothing like that. I'm sitting in there just thinking like, okay, they patched me up. Maybe I just got to recover. Can I go home? This was like day 4. Right. You know what I'm saying? So,
okay.
Going through day 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'm like, why am I still here? So, you're going to worry, but you want to get all the information you need to get if you're going through something with your body. So I would suggest to anybody who's going into the hospital or going to get surgery, it is important to get all the information you need to know, get through it. And I guess if you have a positive attitude, then you'll be all right. If you don't, try to have someone around you to help you to be positive, because it could be tough. Again, it all depends what kind of surgery you're going through.
So was there anything like in the partnership that you had with Michelle during that time, both in the hospital and then after the hospital, was there anything that kind of you picked up on that you continue to use? Like, was there any advice or any kind of strategy that Michelle offered other than being with you, right, and kind of coaching you through this? Is there something that you got from that relationship that you'll continue to use?
Yeah, I told her that the other day. I said, look, when I go into because I got more appointments coming up with certain doctors that I got to still see.
Okay.
For checkups. I told her I'd like for her to be there, because when the doctors talk, they talk quickly.
Yeah.
They talk quickly, and they try to explain to you certain things like, well, you did that. And I'm like with this last doctor, he kind of explained it to me where everything was understood with, no mixed alphabet letters. So I was able to get that. But it was still good having her there to be the double backup person and go, everything he said that you heard and you feel that you understand it, it's the same thing that I heard and I understand too. So you're okay. So it was good. A lot of that still would need her for. Plus, she's a great fighter too, because sometimes I go there with the card and they be fighting with me. Oh, this card is not working, and we don't know if we can't accept your magnet. We can't accept this, and but all you got to do is call the number on the back of the card. Well, we can't. But when she comes, they go to work. Oh yeah, just call the number on the back of the card.
Oh, Bobby, thank you. That Michelle feels good about that. That's good. So, Michelle, you've certainly, really worked with a lot of patients like Bobby, gotten them through surgery, right? Like, what for the patients who, may not have a nurse advocate guiding them, right? What would you like to say to those patients that are going to have surgery?
Well, it's not necessarily just having a nurse advocate. It's having any kind of advocate, I think, really. If you're going to be going into any doctor's office, aside from like a primary care, I feel like, you're going for a well check. But if you're sick, bring someone with you, regardless if they are a healthcare professional or not. Just to be that, because when you're sitting there, I know, like, even when I'm the patient, it's nice to have somebody there with me, because it's different when it's yourself. And to have another set of eyes and ears there, I think, is priceless, regardless if you're healthcare professional or not. And if you don't have somebody that can come with you, I do this myself, I write down the questions that I want to ask before going into the appointment. I think about why I'm going to this appointment and what my goals are for the appointment. And I think of questions because when you're in there, even I freeze up sometimes. Yeah. And I walk out, I'm like, shoot, I wish I asked that question. And I think it's really important, that you do ask questions, and you shouldn't be afraid to ask questions. This is your life, your body. You need to be your own best advocate sometimes.
Right. And to both Bobby and your point, it is overwhelming, and you can get distracted when the doctor starts telling you things that you weren't expecting, and then you get off track, right? So to write the questions down and to research before you go to the appointment, right? Get the good stuff. There's a lot of steps that we at Guardian Nurses are kind of, it's second nature to us, right? But to someone like Bobby, who's facing the healthcare system in an emergency, it can be overwhelming. So to have you there as a benefit of his union membership is, kind of priceless. Bobby, what would you like to say to the members of Local 338? If you were at a membership meeting, what would you say?
I would say, hey, y'all, I didn't know y'all exist. I was like, hey, hi everybody, how y'all doing? And and I thank. See, again, like I said, everyone's experience is different. So if someone asks me, this is my first experience, and all I can say is that I again, it's like someone just put her in my position to help guide me, and it was one of the greatest experiences. So I would say to them, hey, thank you, and I hope as I continue to work for the company and you continue to be my rep, the relationship continues to be just as good or better as what I had.
Yeah, well, hopefully you won't need us anymore. I mean, I say that all the time when I'm talking to groups is, hopefully you never know us or never meet us, right? Because that means you're healthy and you don't need to be in the healthcare system. However, if you have an emergency like you did, or something else, more serious that requires long-term treatment, we can be your partner and get you through it. So congratulations for getting through it.
Yeah, well, thank you. But y'all gonna always need me because Bobby start wondering. I'm calling Michelle like, okay, Michelle. First I'm gonna text. I hope I'm not bothering you. That's the first thing I ask.
Well, Bobby, I'm really glad you're on the other side of this and you're healthy and you're going to be performing back in June. So
yes,
congratulations.
Yes, in June, and then also we just got booked for Ireland October 14th.
Oh,
so
cool!
For festival. Yeah. So
what festival?
That's going to be kind of cool. It's a music festival. This is just a regular music festival. So we was booked for that in Ireland October 14th.
So are the guys in Stetsasonic, are they the originals? You guys are still the original?
Yeah, we're all the original. Wow. Yeah.
How long? How long's the band been together?
83.
Wow.
83.
Wow.
83. But I joined in 86.
Okay. So you were the second
but it's
drummer.
Still the original. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That is really cool.
No. I'm the first drummer. When in '83, they were just going through. People were just covering for. They just need someone to cover.
Oh, okay.
But as a official member, because we didn't sign our deal until 1986.
Okay. And are you still with the same record company or producing company?
No.
Okay.
Oh no, that's another story. You can call me about that another time. That's another story.
So who's your favorite drummer?
Oh, I have three. You probably don't know them, but I can tell you. Well, one of my favorite drummers is a young man by the name of Diamond. He played with this group, the 70s band called the Ohio Players. They had a hit song called Love Roller Coaster.
Yeah, Roller Coaster, yeah. Uh-huh.
Right. The Ohio Players. Another one of my favorite drummers is a young man by the name of Omar Hakim, who I actually know still to this day. He played with Sting.
Oh, jeez.
And
wow.
He's another one. Is one of my great drummers. And another one of my favorite drummers is Tony Thompson. He passed, but he played with Duran Duran. He played with Duran Duran, and he played on Madonna's records, Robert Palmer's records. He played with a lot of great. And he toured with David Bowie.
So what for you? What makes a great drummer?
Oh, their style, and they're able to play all genres of music. Okay. These drummers I'm telling you about were able to play all genres of music. Tony Thompson actually was a drummer in a band in the 70s, a group called Chic. And he had a record out called Good. Yeah. Right. They were a big disco band. Freak out. They had those records out. But he played with this disco group, but was able to. He was also able to play rock and roll music. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So when you hear the David Bowie records, you're thinking to yourself, "Wow, those must be great musicians on the records." And then you realize yourself, those are the musicians who were playing the funk and the disco records.
Oh, okay.
You're like, really?
Okay.
Like if you see them like on TV, you'd be like, "Who's the drummer playing with David Bowie?" Oh, that's Tony Thompson. He was in this group called Chic and a disco funk band. Really?
Okay.
He could play rock, and so and Omar Hakim is not only played funk and rock, but he played jazz. So if you know all the Sting's work, Sting that plays nothing but jazz.
Okay. And do you have your own?
I call my great drummers.
Do you have your own drums?
Yes, I do.
And do you practice? Do your neighbors get angry?
I don't actually practice in my house. I actually practice in a studio in Manhattan. So my set is set up down there. So when we rehearse, my set is already there. So I practice there.
Okay. How did you get into drumming? I'm just like, were you a kid? Were you drumming all the time?
Yeah, I actually I first learned how to play drums at 5 years old.
Wow.
And again, thank you to that idol of mine's, Diamond, from the band The Ohio Players, because I'm banging on the drums, roller coaster. I'm playing on the drums like, wow, this groove is funky, and I'm only 5 years old.
Wow.
You know, so this guy, I'm listening to this guy play the drums on this song, and I'm like, I guess it's the groove of it that kind of got to me. So I would always practice with the song, and I don't know how to read music. I don't.
That's what a friend of mine who plays drums. She said, I said, what's the easiest instrument to learn? She said, drums. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. Play by ear.
So you don't read music?
What.
No. Wow. That is wild to me.
I taught myself. People say, well, who taught you? I taught myself. I put on the records that I like and figure out what does what. And this is
good
how
for
I got
you.
into it.
That's great. When I was little, I said to my mom, I want to play drums, and I want a drum set. And she's like, yeah. So she bought me 2 drumsticks and said, practice on the hassock, on the ottoman. And if you're any good, I'll get you drums. So that was the end of my drumming career.
Well, it could have worked out if you would have made. Look, it could have worked out if you would have made those playing on those sound like something.
Yeah.
Because then they would have been like, wow. But if it's just you going across it, then it's like, oh no, she's just making noise.
Exactly. Hopefully I have other skills. Right. Well, Bobby, thank you. I really enjoyed talking to you. Michelle, thanks for the time and for setting this up. I really do. And Bobby, congratulations again on being on the other side of this.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care, fellas.
Thank you.
Right.
Bye.
Bye. If you have any questions that you would like us to address in a future episode, please email us at podcast@guardiannurses.com. That email again is podcast@guardiannurses.com. We would love to hear from you. Thank you for joining us this week. You can find the Lighting Your Way podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google, YouTube, Spotify, and Stitcher. If you liked what you heard, tell a friend and leave us a review. You can learn all about Guardian Nurses Healthcare Advocates on our website, guardiannurses.com. So until next time, find some joy in your life, pet all the good doggies and kitties, and remember to tell your people that you love them. Take care.